force, whether we're dealing with trying to make our neighbors or our friends act better. We certainly have a personal responsibility for ourselves and our children and our families, and we can work to improve people through our churches and our community. But once the federal government gets involved with improving our personal behavior, they cannot do it without the sacrifice of liberty. And that is what we have to start. Well, freedom doesn't make things fair. Not perfectly fair, but it makes more people rich and more people well off than any other system. But once you use force, taking from one and giving to another, it destroys the incentive. It gets rid of self-reliance. We become dependent on the government, and society gets poorer. We are rich only today because our credit is still good around the world to a degree, but getting worse every time. Same way in foreign policy, if we think we can use force, we cannot expect good results. In freedom, what happens is you concentrate on freedom, you're concentrating on a very important issue, and that is liberty. The whole purpose of all political action, at least for me, has always been one, and that is to promote liberty. That is what liberty does is it releases creative energy. It allows us to have the incentives that we need. And it emphasizes the importance of an individual life. Our lives, from my personal viewpoint, comes from our Creator. Life and liberty comes as a natural gift and a gift from our Creator. Right now, too many people in Washington believe that it comes from government and that they have total control of our lives, and that's the failure. There's several things in our laws that emphasize this rather clearly. The one I already mentioned is the income tax. Even if you had an income tax of 1%, and it was very low at the beginning, and not too many people were taxed, but it was the principle that was 100% wrong, because it emphasized the fact that your income belongs to the government and they will allow you to keep a certain percentage. Just because it's a small percentage doesn't help you on the principle. So that emphasizes that the government owns you and they own the fruits of your labor. At the same time, property. Do you truly own your property? Can you use your property when you want? How many permits do you have to use and get? From federal government down to local government. The other day, I read a story about somebody who wanted to start a business, and he was complaining about the problems. And he said, well, I'm going to China to open up this business. They said, well, why are you doing that? He says, I couldn't get my business started in this country. It'd take me a year and a half. He said, I go there, I can do it in 3 weeks. Now, that's a sad state of affairs where we are now dealing with a country that's still very authoritarian, such as the Chinese, allowing business people to start a business faster than our government. We're destroying the incentive system that we have here today because they don't understand the principle of property rights. Property in a free society, property is owned by the people, not the government. Free society permits us to take control of our own lives. The purpose of life ought to be to strive for virtue and excellence. That should be an ultimate goal. But when government decides that they're going to take over those goals and tell you how you're going to reach them, they do it only with the destruction of liberty. It just is utterly amazing to me that with the message of liberty and the message that we have been blessed with of what America is all about, it is utterly amazing that we have lost this argument for so long. But it just seems like something is coming alive right now in this country, and they're looking for this message. One other area I think emphasizes the difference about authoritarianism and liberty, and that is who it is that owns our life. I believe it's a personal responsibility. I believe that our lives are personal and we can dedicate them to our religious beliefs and others. government out and emphasize that it's our lives to make good use of, whether it's in this lifetime or in our eternity. That is our responsibility. It should be out of the hands of the government. But the one other area that I think emphasizes the fact that there's other individuals who believe the government owns us, and that has to do with selective service. I think you don't never ever need to have a military draft. Tell you, if we were attacking, using the word that somebody was invading this country, if our Second Amendment rights are still intact, believe me, I believe all Americans will fight to protect our liberty. The individual who happens to run the selective service the other day, and I'm not so sure he was pleased to meet with me, but I had a little conversation on how many people do you have registered. Oh, about 16 million. I can call them up anytime I want. And there is a lot more agitation and activity. I said, well, you can't call up 16 million if we have enough room for them. Oh, no, we'll have to devise a system, probably a lottery or something like this. And he went on and he said, I said, well, why? What are their ages? He said, between 18 and 25. And he went on about, everybody owes something to their country. Well, why is it that an 18-year-old owes more to their country than somebody who's 45 and who's lived pretty well? The 18-year-old